Honestly, my tree looks really botched right now, but you're gonna have to ignore it because that's what I'm working with. So I started my year off on a pretty interesting note. My graduation came up, which I thought was gonna be something that I was like just waiting for that moment, and honestly it came and went so fast. Really proud of myself, and I wouldn't have been able to, you know, get to the point that I've gotten to without hard work and endurance. So grateful that I do have a bachelor's degree and that I was able to go to college. I graduated a year early. I would just set the tone. I would be that girl once I graduated. And honestly, people don't talk about how hard post-grad is. It's not like I'm not doing anything, but it just always feels to me these days like I'm doing so many things, but I don't really feel like I have a purpose. A lot of people mostly post like all their highlights on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I just feel like gap year, the idea of a gap year and the idea of post-grad is like, oh, you're no longer like obligated to go to class anymore, you're like a real person now, a real adult, if you will. But no one really talks about like how difficult the transition is. It just feels like I'm supposed to be an adult, but I literally just got out of school, and school is literally, I like read a textbook and did some labs, and like that's the extent to what I've actually done. It's like all the things you learned plus having to deal with people. There's always the oddball that someone comes in and they're like not the best. I never really prepared for the fact that being like a provider in a sense, or working like in the healthcare field, that I would like constantly have to encounter that. Preparing for PA school has been mentally exhausting, bro. Mentally, I'm in here all the time now and overthinking things, just questioning if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm not doing enough. I felt really lost and confused, even though I had things set in stone that I knew I wanted to do after graduation. I had FOMO a lot of the time because a lot of my friends were still currently in college when I graduated, so there was just college football games and college parties and stuff that I felt like I was missing out on because I was graduated. Even the simple things like going to class and getting my Starbucks in the morning before class was something that I really missed, and it was just something that could not be emulated again. I was lucky enough to, well, let's rephrase that. I worked hard enough to make sure that once I graduated, I would get a full-time job, and that did not come easy. I bounced around for the first couple of months of post-grad. I was able to graduate in May. I got my first post-grad job in June, so I was lucky in that sense where I wasn't just waiting and waiting. Like I know a lot of people go through that, but that job that I had sucked, okay? I would cry after work. I would be so sad. Working in patient care is really a difficult experience. I think a lot of people don't talk about that as well, how, you know, healthcare can be great, but I think healthcare also comes with a lot of different things that no one told me about, like dealing with like rude patients or just emergency situations that might give you anxiety. Definitely my first job out of college was me working as a phlebotomist, and it was not that great of pay, not that great of a work environment, very toxic work environment. I really had to go through that to just build me up for what it was going to be like to work in the real world. Build me up to the point where I could recognize that not every job experience is going to be a positive one, and not every work environment is going to be a positive one, and that might be due to management, that might be due to coworkers, that might be due to the company. But definitely I went through that. That was a very rough season for me this year. I was really sad and frustrated a lot of the time. I was honestly bringing that energy with me home, and that's when I was like, this is too much. This is taking over my whole life, and it shouldn't be like that, you know? Like, you shouldn't be working in a place where you are mentally drained and fatigued and sad a lot of the times. Like, it was just very unhealthy. So, you know, a couple months later, I decided to quit that job, and then I started working remote as a medical scribe. Did that for a little bit, wasn't for me, didn't really like it, but hey, added something to my resume, a new skill. Definitely difficult and If you know medical scribes, literally give them a pat on the back because there's so much knowledge that you have to retain. It is honestly very difficult working with different providers and knowing what they want from you, and that was honestly a pretty good experience, but also just definitely wasn't what I was looking for out of college. Currently, fast forward to the job that I have right now, which I am working full-time, and I am working in a mental health / substance abuse clinic, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy seeing different patients and just any issues surrounding the matter of mental health and substance abuse is interesting to me. So I feel like I learn a lot. I feel like the work environment is not too bad. I actually really enjoy a lot of my coworkers. I'm working an 8 to 5, which is crazy. I can't believe that I work 40 hours a week like a regular person now. It's just insane and can't believe it. But luckily enough, after that I was able to get my own place. As you guys can see, I'm in my own place. Surprise, surprise, I'm actually moving to a different place, and I just want to say that this year really instilled in me that you could think things are gonna go one way and you'll never fully know how things are gonna play out. Stability has to be within me, and it cannot come from my environment because my environment is constantly changing, whether that be my job, my living situation, my friends. Everything is constantly changing, and I feel like, I don't know, I just really learned that my stability and inner peace has to come from myself, and that was something that people make it seem like it's so easy, and it's like, oh yeah, just like love yourself, spend time with yourself, and it's really honestly difficult, but it's something I'm gonna get better at in the new year.